I'm Dave the Sign Guy. Welcome to my shop. Hello, today I thought I'd give you a quick tour of my shop. If you have any questions about anything you see in my shop, such as tools I use, don't hesitate to make a comment down in the comment section or ask a question down in the comment section. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a walk. Okay, so coming through the door of the shop, to the left is one of my design stations and one of my plotters, and one of my first projects we're going to come across is a new PC homemade PC I'm putting together. Not really going to do a video to cover per se, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Moving to the right side of the shop as you're coming through the door, this is another design station, another plotter, FX printer. Take a quick walk around over here. Again, design station, and a good view out the front door. And where I have most of my fun is going through this door right here. Is where I build most of my fun stuff. So there's my workbench where I do a lot of my sign work. And over here we've got my fridge and my little break area, so to speak, with cabinets, rulers. Try to keep it as neat as possible. I've been busy, so it's not super clean right now, but to the right over here, we've got a CNC machine I've been working on. It's nearing completion. This is my third CNC build. This one, all I got left is the wiring for it. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. You run off a laptop with a second screen. Little 110 welder. Security system. Planes, cars, hobbies. Always believe your workplace should be a fun place to come to. So continuing down the right side, more cabinets, work cabinets, toolbox, hanging tools. I like certain tools to be able to quick grab and roll. This is a sign box I'm working on, actually finished up. We just have to install it. More tools. I'm a fan of rigid tools. I like to keep them all in their own cases. The camper I've been covering that I'm working on, getting very close to completion on. Let's see, towards the back of the shop we have a sander. A fan I built which allows me to filter the air if I'm spray painting or something. Radio, another build project for my son, a go-kart. And then the garage door, ladders, panel saw, crosscut saw, table saw. If you're building anything, these are three major pieces of equipment that are almost required. Not so much the panel saw, but boy, let me tell you, if you got quick crosscuts to make, it's the way to go. And little steel welding table a good friend of mine gave me. I thought that was nice of him. And coming back around to the little break area, so to speak, with the work cabinets. And yeah, that's basically it. Thought I'd just give you a quick tour of the shop. Don't get dizzy. I tell you what, as long as we're at it, I'll cover this table. This actually is not an original design. It's a partial stolen design from a gentleman. I can't remember his name right offhand, but I liked his idea of the little cubbies to store stuff right up under your table. Now, if you notice, what it's sitting on is a pool table. Like I said, your workplace should be fun. There's hooks up on the hooks up on the ceiling that can come down and actually pick that table right on up out of the way so that I can shoot pool. I like shooting pool. Anyhow, I'll cover that in another video, but the table itself I'm able to use magnets on to hold things down. Let me grab one. So I have these magnets with handles on them, and this holds things in place for me. Now, how's that done? Well, what I have is the table, which is made out of wood. Then I got a really thin sheet of steel under a piece of Lexan. So the Lexan allows me to cut and hammer and do everything I want to do on that, as well as having the steel that I then covered with vinyl with prints on it. So this allows me to hold things in place like vinyls and things like that, so that, you know, it's like having another set of hands, to be quite honest. So when I'm doing sign work, that comes in quite handy. And I'll be covering videos on peeling and masking and laying simple signage. So yeah, that's a basic of the table. I love the cubby situation because everything's right at hand. This is like where I do most of my work actually when I'm doing signage. Because there sits the table, right behind me sits my knives and other utensils I use for cutting and whatnot, and then the trash can. So everything is very close together, so I'm not doing a lot of unnecessary motions to do certain jobs. Again, a fan of the rigid tools, as I said before. I gotta tell you, if you have the room, a panel saw is huge. If you can, and you can find them on Craigslist. I got this one at a real good price. Wow, I got this one about 18 years ago, actually. And I paid $500 at the time. And I've still seen this particular model on Craigslist for about $500 to $800. You can't beat it. I mean, for quick cross cuts, there's just no beating it. So yeah, if you got the chance and you have the space to throw one of these in your shop, I highly recommend it, because you can quick cut a 4x8 down in a heartbeat. So yeah, definitely a good tool, good cross cut tool, and a good table saw. Those are some real hardcore cutting tools that are, if you're doing a lot of cuts, they're mandatory. At least the two, table saw and the cross cut saw. What I see a lot of guys do is they'll set up their table saw to match a nice big 4x8 table, so they can just slide material right off onto the table. And that's well and good, but in here, it just creates too much dust. I like to roll my saw outside a lot of times when I can, when it's nice, and do that kind of stuff outdoors. Now, as far as tools, you can't go wrong with a lot of battery operated tools. Free yourself from the cords. Most of my drills and other tools are all battery operated. Everything from my trim router to, you know, drills, jigsaw, even a circular saw. They're all 18 volt based. I find 18 volt to be fine. I know they've got much more powerful ones now, but I find 18 volt to be just fine. I have on the ceiling, right in the middle of my shop, an air hose. The air line was here when I moved in years ago, so I just have it set up to going right to that compressor. A couple brad nailers. Tell you another very handy thing in any sign shop is a drop cord. Sometimes it's just a pain to run extension cords when you need to cut something quickly. It's great just to be able to grab a drop cord. All right, so, you know, just a quick venture around the shop so you can see where I do some things, and that way if you're wondering how I get things done in the space I'm working in, yeah, this will show you how. If you have any questions, again, just go down to the comments section and I will do my best to try to answer all of them. So this is Dave the Sign Guy, and I'll talk to you soon.